So my sexual journey, for me, was not really, the first one, I wouldn't say that I had sex per se. I'd say it more or less it had me. It was a violent one. I was 8, and there was a man, custodian at the church where I was a Cub Scout. A few bruised ribs and a swollen eye later, I guess I'd had sex.
Maybe about 5 or 6 years old, I started to experiment with friends. And then, unfortunately, I had some older cousins that were also in this exploration, and I was taken advantage of. And that was my introduction to my sexuality.
When I was younger, I was molested. And so that changed a lot, you know. So then I really saw myself as like damaged. It's interesting that I can even talk about that now because I have never talked about it. I've never talked about my experience.
I also was sexually abused. And so there are like some negative things around the way that I learned about sexuality in my body associated with that.
For a long time, I didn't want to talk about it because I thought I was damaged. I thought like nobody wants to like be with me because I've been like deflowered or I'm like broken or I have baggage. I was like terrified, like didn't want to be touched, didn't want to like even really be in a real committed relationship because I just felt like you're gonna do the same thing or anything like that.
For me, all through that period, up through the period that my daughter was born, I was very indifferent to sex. I don't really remember even having an attraction to anyone.
For too long, I was trying to deal with it by myself. You know, if I don't talk about like my sexual past and things that have happened, then I'll be fine. If I like put it in the back of my head, I'll be fine. But not realizing that one day all that was gonna explode.
You know, coming from that abuse, that experience, it wasn't the end of the world type of experience, but I recognized it with wiser eyes that it was abusive. It was a lot of years that passed, a lot of experiences that I had that took my attention away from it. Some of it I may have repressed, some of it I may have just let go, I'm not sure.
When me and my boyfriend got together, he noticed. He like talked to me about it, you know, like when I touch you, you like kind of move, it makes me feel like you don't want me, like you don't love me. And that was like definitely wasn't it. He could see that I was blocking myself in certain ways from him, and he genuinely and truly cared about that. If I cry, I'm sorry. But, and so, like, I had somebody who was like genuine, could see I was hurt and like wanted to help me with that. But I started talking about it. I started speaking up. I started talking to my friends about like what I had gone through. And then I started learning that my friends have faced similar things. I'm thinking I'm the only one out of my friend circle that's ever experienced this. And I just started feeling like I can't keep quiet about this. Like I have to talk about it because there are other people just like me who've experienced this.
My journey in sort of being able to like move into a place where I see myself, my body, my sexuality in more positive ways has been something that I really have embraced and really have like worked really hard at focusing on and processing and doing things with, particularly in the last couple of years of my life.
My healing process deals with a lot of openness and also a lot of reflectiveness, like me not trying to suppress what happened in my past because it's who I am. It's a part of who I am today, and also using my past as a platform and for other women and young girls.
I feel comfortable in that area now. I don't feel anxious or any type of anxiety at all discussing it anymore. I'm not secretive about it anymore. So I don't know where the healing really came from. I recognize that somehow I have healed from it.
it's still an ongoing healing process. I don't think it's ever going to stop. I don't think healing is ever done. I think it just changes in certain ways. But the biggest thing that is helpful and has helped me with my healing is talking. I always tell my story because I just remember back to when I found all those stories online, when I was reading articles about similar experiences, that it opened me up to see that I wasn't alone and that I can do something about it. And the other part of my healing is I surround myself with people who genuinely care about me, people who love me and allow me to heal and have them a part of my process.